Spotting the bottom right in the semifinals here. It's a best of 5 in the blue. He's the best Western Vanguard player, not to be confused with the Four Seasons Vanguard player. It's Mixu. And in the upper left, in the red, the Infernal player, the mastermind, the Mushroom Man from Bulgaria. It's msrm. And as Grimmy said in chat a little bit earlier, this is grand finals worthy. This is a pretty cool matchup, especially because we get to see the mastermind at work. This is the double shrine build. We saw him do this. I saw him do this for the first time last week. Where you go, the moron shrine, as msrm calls it. Where you go, you build a second shrine to the main base. You really optimize your Ethereum income as much as possible. And then you just rush to tier 3. That's the goal. So you go 3 shrine on 2 bases. It means you get more imps out, which is also super important because Infernals, they build 1 worker every 27 seconds. They get a charge every 27 seconds, much like Vanguard do. But Vanguard do not have to spend bobs to make structures, right? A bob builds a command post, builds a barracks, the bob goes back to mining. An Infernal builds a conclave. That's -1. That's -1 imp, right? That is -1 worker. That is a significant difference in how economy scales. So if you're trying to go saturate your stuff ASAP, getting these 3 shrines out as quickly as possible, and then by the time you're in 3 bases, it's 4 shrines, actually really 5 shrines often. It means that you're going to be in this situation where you're just going to be able to get more charges per time and be able to saturate more and kind of boom your economy that much more. All right. I love, so someone in chat is asking, like, why does msrm do this? And I mean, I'm talking about it, whatever. And then Grimmy, who is a high-level player, says the exact same thing I just said. So I will take that. It means I know something about this game. So it turns out Elf is not just a genius for just playing normal and A-moving. You're just an orc. You're just, you know what? There is nothing wrong with playing Unga Bunga Infernal. Absolutely nothing wrong with playing Unga Bunga Infernal. Yeah, it works out. There is a time and a place. But for now, Ritual Chamber, done. Plague Axes, done. It means Fiends are going to be on the way. These gaunts are going to be rather efficient gaunts. And Mixu, for his part, how is he punishing, you may ask? It's a 3rd base. He's building barracks. We're moving straight into bio in the mid game, and with the bio lab done, it means exos are going to be on the way. No quick draw just yet, to be fair, but he's going to have those nice powerful tools. By the way, it is so nice that Lancers actually die to gaunts now. You know, they still trade fairly well, but it's no longer, oh, there's a single Lancer. I have to run away. I'm never going to kill this, and he's just going to kill all my gaunts. It's horrible, which was a state of Lancer balance in previous patches. It just did not feel good. So now, we're good. msrm is the reason Infernals get the nerf hammer. He's our very own Cyril. You know, if anyone is going to be the Cyril of Stormgate, and I don't think we have a Cyril of Stormgate right now, it's probably Snockstar. Because Snockstar goes on and wins these tournaments, but Infernal is maybe not the leading race. It's hard to tell, but then he figures things out. Like, actually, Infernals are broken, guys. I figured it out. msrm has nonsense. He has the Moron Shrine. He has his insanity. Snockstar just beats everyone and then makes people call for nerfs. Yeah, well, Snockstar was 2-7 by refresh. This is it's an online cup. Cyril has lost ESL Open Cups. It's actually kind of funny. Cyril, for a while, whenever he would lose like an ESL regional, like maybe get top 2 or top 3 or something, like not win the entire thing, he would rage play like EPT Mondays the next week and then not win it. I don't know if Cyril's actually ever won an ESL Open Cup. It's kind of funny. For how good he is, he does not play in those Open Cups very often. And again, I don't know that I feel like he makes relatively deep runs. I don't know that he ever won an ESL Open Cup. Professor Wannabe, Miasma used to be 700% infest damage, but now it is 800%. Oh, that's a good Nightfall. That is such a good Nightfall there. And now Reaper Rush is done. You would think the Exos would die, but nope, not enough Gaunts, not enough Fiends. They're all going to target that down. I'm like, man, I thought Mixu might have just lost the game right there with the surround and all the Gaunts and the splash damage and the bonus versus light. I thought he was going to die. But instead, he just has a lot of stuff and he just clicks it out. And it's fine. It's okay. But look at this. This is the next stage of Mushroom's nonsense. His absolute madness. His Elder's just about done, by the way. Then we have Harbinger drops. Importantly, it's Magmadon Harbinger drops. Which means that you're able to go, he's not going to play this as a harass tool, by the way. He's going to drop this behind Exos and combat drop them right in. And I believe, let's see if we can find the Hellforge. Yeah, Raging Tendons is on the way. So Stompy Boys are done. They do the stun. 2 plus 900%. Yeah, it's 20 damage per second is what it was buffed to him. So, yeah. But Hellforge is done. That's kind of the important thing here. Raging Tendons are on the way. Speed Magmadons are a very powerful thing. They are... You get to the point where it is impossible to kite. Now, that is only up to a certain point, because once you get System Shock, which we're a ways away from, right? You got to get MedTech Adept done, and then you got to get Mastery done, and ideally, ideally you got some Sentinels as well, because the Sentinels go and, hey, look at that. They make you move 25% faster. So there is counterplay, but no unsystem shocked, unhaste spotted bio. It just gets run over by Magmadons. So it's kind of interesting. This game had a little bit of early shenanigans that kind of petered out for the most part. This Magmadon is just going to have to sprint away, but it's just going to get taken down. That is not what you're looking for here. And now Gaunt's on the rally, man. MSRM, he's got this army that is building up, but he's just kind of out of position. Drops the Speed Dons, going straight on top, and this is just how you cannot kite from this. It does not work, but even still, the Magmadons now, they're going to get targeted down. Some of them, ideally, they're going to try to eat a Fiend. Is that going to work out? I don't know. Nightfall is good, but is it good enough? One Fiend gets eaten. You're going to try, theoretically, to pick this up, put it in a Harbinger, chase things down that much more, but the answer right now is that there is a shielded up Vulcan, and this thing is not really gonna go down, but you just ignore it for now. You go run past the front lines on the back lines, and there is no quick draw, or excuse me, there's no survival protocol just yet. So when the Exos die, they die. Not even on the way. That's still a pretty good fight for Mixu, all things considered. The Vulcan soaked a ton of damage, and it didn't even go down. It's going to get Nanoswarm back up to full. And importantly here, all the Magmadons are dead. There is no, and I mean no Molten Touch available. So while Hellborn are pretty good, especially against the Magmadons, or against the Hellborn, sorry, against the Vulcans, there we go, and the Evacs and things like that, they don't do a lot against the Exos. Luckily, that's what the Gaunts are for. They're fast, they're speedy, they're able to chase things down. They're able to go and kill off some of these Exos. But behind this MSRM, 5th base on the way. Do we have a... Okay, High Command is done. Survival Protocol on the way. We're getting those high-tier mech or bio upgrades at this point. And Molten Touch still not complete. It's so close. The difference between Molten Touch and no Molten Touch is massive. Now, against mech, it's kind of... Against big, heavy units, it's kind of fine. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. But against... smaller units, against light units, against units without a heavy tag, it effectively doubles the damage per second. As MSRM, by the way, you're keeping track of the dragon timing. I mean, I don't know that there is a player more closely associated with the Flayed Dragon than MSRM is, but you're keeping track of the dragon timing. He's about 70 animus off. So it's going to take a while before he can go and get that thing up and running. Looks like an attempted evac drop here. Shadow Flyers are going to try to chase it down. It's getting promoted, so it moves that much faster and likely is going to be able to run away. So Vulcans now, they're going to dash on. It's stunning an imp. Look at that. Powerful stun on the single imp. But it's just going to have to return to hangar at this point and get back home. It's... I'm not going to say it's a lot of damage. Killed off a single imp, but it does force MSRM back home. So there is that. I'm a little surprised. Actually, I guess, no, that is out of the Hellforge. I'm a little surprised we're not getting, I always forget what it's called, but the Shroud upgrade, that means Shroud has like 50% more area. It always just feels so good to get it. Maybe MSRM just thinks it's a little too expensive right now. So this fight, I mean, there's so many Hellborn fighting into this right now, and, well, Sticky Bombs are gonna go down, but, well, I thought at least one might make contact. Answer is not really. So all the Gaunts are dead. This Weaver is slow as hell. I mean, it already was slow, but it's extra slow right now. This Hellborn number, we're looking at 9 Hellborn in a bit of a diamond, and this becomes rather difficult for Mixu to deal with. The answer really is helicarriers. If you can get enough of them, bombing runs can be extremely impactful, but if you don't have enough of them, well, they just get slammed down by all the helicarrier, or by all the Hellborn. So now Mixu's gonna try to take a fight here. Atlas on the back line, getting healed up a little bit. Magmadon's gonna run forward, but it's a problem. It's a mistake. He's pushing all the Hellborn straight into the army where they're gonna get targeted down. That's not what MSRM wanted whatsoever, and I think he's gonna be able to survive. The med station, though, doing God's work here, keeping this army alive as much as possible. More Hellborn are gonna stomp in, but they're just gonna get targeted down. And once that happens, use System Shock right on top of this. Go straight on, and I'm sure you don't know exactly what's happening, but you go on top of it. You take these Hellborn down. They are expensive. They were nerfed, or they were buffed in terms of how much Therium they cost. Doesn't matter. They're still expensive. They are still very much worth killing, and MSRM is going to lose just about every single Hellborn. That is not how he wanted that fight to go. He got pushed in. That was Miss Micro, unfortunately. Oh, that's another free Hellborn. I guess it was a stasis thrown out. But that was not how he wanted that fight to go. That was absolutely not how he wanted that fight to go. The Hellborn, they were meant to sit there in the back line, and the Magmadons, their job was to just make space. Their job was to just buy some space so the Hellborn could do the damage. But about half the Hellborn army was kind of shoved in, and it's just not what you wanted. And now, well, the Dragon's out at the very least. MSRM 140, 150 more Animus on top of that, or on top of that one. I mean, these late game fights, you get so much. The question, as we take a look at this late, because this is a pretty cool game already. We have seen a bunch of tech swaps, like a bunch of different ways to play this already. This is a pretty cool game. The question now is whether we move on to Mass Mech Bay, Mech Lab, excuse me, whether we go or Mass Mech Bay, I know I was right the first time, and get Hedgehogs out and get a machine lab and get transonic rockets and start to do Hedgehog drops, which is how Mixu generally deals with Dragon Harass. Now, the space on the right side is Mixu would love to take this base. He's not allowed to take this base. Not into a Shroudstone, not into these Hellborn, not into these Magmadons. That is patently illegal. So the Bobs, they're going to have to find somewhere else to mine, and it's becoming a little bit more difficult as the game continues, but we're going solid base trade here. Supply is pretty equal, but look at this. Mixu is straight into the natural. This army is, well, he's going to infiltrate, which actually matters quite a bit. That steals money from MSRM. Also means he kills the bases faster, and this Dragon is trying to do what it can. This Dragon will eventually kill everything, right? It's going to convert things into fiends. It will eventually kill off a lot of stuff. But in the meantime, the Natural's going to fall down. The Hellforge is dead. And these are some exposed units here. I think you jump on this. If you're, yeah, there we go, absolutely. Dropping the bombs, half damage there on the Hellborn, but it means you should be able to kill off the rest of it. And by the way, covert bombers are done. So the bombers are a lot harder to deal with no skulls, with no shadow flyers if they're not there, with no weavers, with no detection. That's a lot more difficult. So the Natural's not dead, but it did lose every imp at the Natural and lost some a little bit of tech there as well. But now Shroudfall's going to go down, and that means the Dragon probably does not die. 6% HP regen per second is massive, but look at this. The forward med station trying to keep this army alive as long as possible. Survival protocol as well, but Mixu's just soaking. He's tanking the damage, and I don't know that this is the play. This just, especially in Shroudfall here, I think he just got a system shock and run. He wasn't even fighting. Unfortunately, while you had the med station going, he wasn't even fighting in the med station. He was fighting kind of off to the side of it, and that just is not what you want to do. So he loses a lot of supply here, and he's going to find his way back to another med station. That's going to be a little bit better. And, well, Graven are going to run forward a little bit. Dragon now, no Shroud available. Can you take it? I don't think you can. I think at this point, I think Mixu, he overcommitted there into the Shroudfall. And now this army just, oh wait, Dragon's dead. Look at that, system shock goes down. That is a lot of strength just removed from Mixu's army, but I don't know that he can deal with the Hellborn anymore. I think that's kind of the problem that as we look at it at this point. I don't know that he, maybe, okay, so where's the rally coming in? Yeah, no mining at the natural, no mining at the main base. So Mixu's kind of broke. He's only on 3-base mining at the moment. And he doesn't really have a good way to really cut through these Magmadons so he can get on top of the Hellborn. Maybe if msrm is nice and wants to donate 7 or 8 Hellborn like he did in a previous fight, maybe that's how it's going to work out. But as it stands, this is just a problem. So yeah, what is Mixu? Oh, he's going for a counterattack, I guess, but he's losing every bit of mining. He's lost the base on the left side. He's lost the base in the middle. He's losing this base. He has no, it's mined out anyways. He has no money. The way he's going to have to play this is literally stealing money from his opponent. He's got some Graven. I guess that's what you're going to do. And this Magmadon is gonna find a bunch of Bobs. Now, luckily, repair is free. So Bobs are not, you know, they really shouldn't die. It's not like you're gonna lose out on all your money from the Bobs. But msrm has 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 if he wants to go mine from this one. He's got 5 bases to mine from. And Mixu has nothing. In fact, he's pretty heavily supply blocked, losing all these command posts as well. This is the last fight. He has to make a miracle happen here if he ever wants to make this happen. And it's not going to happen, guys. Molten Touch, Stompy Boys with the supplies as they are is just not, it's not a recipe for success. Sure, the Sticky Bomb is pretty good. It's not enough. Bombing runs, it's a single bombing run. It's a single helicarrier. It's not enough. And at this point, we are looking at an msrm GG timing, but from the other side, msrm, he's bought the time that he needed. He won enough fights. The dragon went down, but he had enough behind it that it was a-okay. And it really all goes down to the fact that Mixu overcommitted and was not able to sit into the med station on the middle of the map, and that fight in the middle of the map, and that was the problem. msrm goes up 1. All right, game 2, Lost Hope, and good news for those of you that are not a fan of Lost Hope on vertical or horizontal position. The games are too fast, they're too aggressive, maybe a little too coin flippy. Even we have cross spawn. The map is as long as possible. Another great big, potentially macro game, which is good because that first game on Furious Resolve, very nice. Very nice. I think that Infernal versus Vanguard, when we get in a late game, is probably the best matchup that Stormgate has right now. And I don't think I am super I don't think many people are going to disagree with me for saying that, as we got the Moron Shrine on the way. I love that this is the name of the build. It's the Moron Shrine, guys, because it's so dumb, it's brilliant. You get so much more Therium out of it. It's the Mushroom Shrine. No, it's the Moron Shrine. It's great. Lost Hope describes most of my ladder games, no matter the map. You'll get there, Ghana. I believe in you. But it is interesting to see that this is a double barracks opener coming out of Mixu in this game. One imp is idling. The msrm imp, yeah, wants to go. I love imps. I love their idle animation. Has them just like sinking into the ground. But this is the same build from msrm game 2 as we saw in game number 1. But it's kind of interesting here. It's a double racks Lancer opening on cross spawn. And I don't know how I feel about this. Now, it is against the Moron Shrine, so you do not have a lot of early units. You don't have a lot of stuff on the map. It literally is just 2 2 Gaunts, and you're not going to have a Hellspawn Resurgence. You don't have a Vault either. It's on the way now, but you're not going to have a Vault for this. So I would generally say it's like, yeah, you know, this probably isn't all that great. But it's a big caveat. In the build order matchup, building 2 Lancers at a time versus Gaunts that are, well, sitting here and you're being greedy as possible, I think this probably cancels the natural at the very least. Grimmy saying the Infest will try to chip. Yeah, Infest is just about done. But even as we're in the situation where Lancers are, well, level 1 Lancers are 210 HP. Level 2 Lancers, or I guess level 0 Lancers are 210 HP. Level 2 Lancers are 300 HP. Infest is going to chip, but it is going to tickle. It is not going to be the easiest thing to take this down, but at least now that the natural's done, Shroud is available, so the Gaunts can play a little bit more, and actually, Mixu is backing up on this. He's got his natural done. He hasn't sold any of the barracks, which oh, no, he did. Okay, he has sold a barracks, and now moving on from Mass Lancer, it's Lancer Hog. It is pressure for Mixu. Ghana saying, I was there once. I was Master League in StarCraft 2 long before Grandmaster was introduced, but it all went downhill from there. Yeah. Oh, wait. So msrm was able to go and get the health camp, which matters quite a bit. But now that there's a Greater Shrine done, you can pop Magmadons out. And Magmadons versus Lancers, very, very good. So now, I think this is fine. This is, you're totally okay here, right? You're not going, as msrm, getting your 3rd base may be a bit of a struggle, but you're not going to die to this. So, question now, will the Hedgehogs do enough to go kill off this singular Magmadon? Hedgehogs do a lot. They really do. They do hurt. The bonus damage versus heavy is pretty nice, especially when you start to promote him a little bit. But notice he's not fighting the Hedgehogs with the Magmadon. He's fighting the Lancers with the Magmadon. And Lancers, while and there's a Hellborn on the, yeah, no, this isn't going to work anymore. There's a Hellborn on the high ground. And 60 damage, a shot from range, from 14 range. Yeah, this is, msrm is just going to get his 3rd base up. This is held at this point. And it's like, I think if this was a map where the rush distance was, say, vertical or horizontal or something, but not cross spawn, I think this build probably works, but it takes too long to rally. Grimmy, are we saying Jinx right now? Like, you and I have said the same thing. You owe me a soda. It depends on who you're talking to, Orson. Snockstar was playing Brutes in games that he was winning. But honestly, Gaunts don't feel good to play for the most part. Gaunts are just more fun to play. Gaunts just feel better to play with. I've been lagging the stream. Yeah, this is my connection to, I want to say we're on Frankfurt, as it's decided that my connection in this game is lagging a little bit. So, you know, what can you do? Now, this is awkward here because the Hellborn's on the front line. Magmadon is just going to get targeted down by all of these Hedgehogs. And I really liked msrm's position when he was holding a high ground. Now that he's on the, now that he's in this situation, now that he's on the map trying to creep, I don't like this one. This is awkward. Medtechs are out. Sure, they're infested, but these Hedgehogs probably not going to die. I'm assuming Nanoswarm's done. So you still probably don't break the ramp. But everything else is a bit of an awkward spot. Wait, where's our, oh, that's weird. Greater Shrine is the Moron Shrine. That's pretty weird. Anyways, Greater Shrine means no Elder Shrine just yet. There's not enough money for it. I don't see a Twilight anywhere. Don't see it on the way. So we're not staring down the barrel of Molten Touch, anything like that. Hedgehogs are awful, though. Yeah, it depends on what you're talking about. Hedgehogs are awful against Magmadons. Or, sorry, against Gaunts. Against Hellborn to some extent. Against Magmadons, before speed dawns, they kind of slap. Pretty good. You know, they do a lot of damage. 15 damage in 4 volleys. And it gets even worse once they get promoted. So they actually, again, Hedgehogs, as long as Hedgehogs can kite the Magmadons, they slap. Moron Shrine is furthest from resources, so slightly less valuable as an imp producer than the others. This msrm has thought it all out. Yeah, you know, it is actually on this map because you got to rally up and around and down. He's a smart man. So now that we are solidly into the mid game, this was where Mixu started to build himself a pretty significant advantage in the last game too. Although unfortunately he was not able to confirm it into something that won him the game. This time though, there is msrm all postured in the trees. He's hiding there, but he has no idea that this attack is coming into the main base. So he's gonna find himself supply blocked as he's gonna lose these meat farms, or very close actually. It's not gonna be quite a supply block. No, never mind, it is. I was looking at Mixu's supply. I'm like, why is that not going down? He's gonna be supply blocked here. That is awkward, and so many of these hogs are gonna try to get on top. Now the Magmadon's gonna run forward, and it's a little bit dicey here. That medtech goes down to the damage of the Hellborn, and the Gaunts are gonna try to chase it. And Gaunts versus hogs. Gaunts win that. Gaunts are pretty good against that. So this attack does supply block msrm for quite a bit here, and that is still a lot of hedgehogs. And without creep, without shroud, you're not infesting, so that there is that as well, as the Magmadon is unfortunately going to go down. And the Harbinger, well, it's going to try to hot drop. It's going to add a little bit more shroud to make sure infest will get applied. But this fight, I don't know, guys. Certainly the Harbinger is going to fall down as well. Maybe I'm not giving the Hellborn enough credit, but this doesn't feel like a great fight for Mixu, or it doesn't feel like a great fight for msrm, excuse me. It's just he's losing a lot of Gaunts. I need a little convenience store like sound effect ding dong for backdoor attacks. Oh, that'd be fun. Be a fun little add-on to the stream. Maybe I should do that, Orson. But yeah, this is what we're talking about. Hedgehogs they may not be the best unit technically against the Gaunts, but they dive on top of the Magmadon. They dive on top of the Hellborn. They're gonna dive on top of msrm's chances in this game. And you know, msrm, he's pretty dead here. This game is pretty over. He just lost too much from the initial aggression, and he was never really able to stabilize. He kind of almost got there, almost. But then he got caught being too greedy on the Therium camp, and that was really the final door in the coffin. So it's an attempted shrine that's going to get canceled. Well, yeah, the dogs can take the Hellborns. Hedgehogs can also take the Hellborn. It's only 30 damage, right? Hellborn are not against non-heavy units. Hellborn do like 8 1/3 damage a second, something like that. It's wait, no, it's 30 damage every. It's 10 DPS. Right, they used to be 8 1/3, but they do 10 damage a second, and it's something, but it's really not a lot. Now, they do 20 DPS against heavy units, and they can burst them down. That's actually pretty good. But against light units, Hellborn just really don't do a ton. So if soaking with scouts, soaking with hogs as much as possible, it just makes a lot of sense. And now we're at this point where Mixu's literally up 100 supply of hogs. And, you know, if this was a different game, maybe that might be a lot of bacon. But in this game, there is not a lot that msrm can do, and he's going to get forced to tap out of this game eventually. Mixu, he's going to tie it up 1 game apiece on Lost Hope. The initial attack didn't really work out all that well. The rally was too long. But now, the Mushroom Man, he is waiting for something. But he is dead. Giga dead, Mega dead, Ultra dead? He's waiting. If he stays in this game long enough, Monk will nerf the Hedgehog so he can come back. That is how this works. Hogs have 230 HP, so Miasma is actually good against them, says Dutchy. Well, yes and no. Like 200 HP is the breakpoint for Infest is better versus Infest is worse, but 20 damage a second is still not bad against smaller units. So yes and no. For now though, Mixu ties it up. We're at 1 apiece. So it's game number 3. Game 1, Mixu had a nice, pretty reasonable position in the mid game, and then in the late game he got run over on a Shroudfall timing and was never able to quite recover. Game 2, went double racks Lancer. Tried to just just break down the Moron Shrine build that msrm has been playing with. Wasn't able to quite break it. Not quite break it well enough. But his hedgehog timing after that worked out very nicely. So now we're looking at game 3. We got the Moron Shrine once again. Sword and I are slowly getting Vindicta to become a Storm gamer. Well, if Vindicta decides that he gets into Stormgate and wants to play on a Stormgate Sunday or something, please encourage him to reach out to me. Love to have him. Love me some Migs. So just got distracted. I got pinged, but it's algorithm saying that they're just gonna raid into me for the finals. That's fine. So Moron Shrine going. This is not a double Rex time. I kind of thought it was. I thought I saw a second barracks on the way, but nope. Just building a Lancer out. That's fine. And it's funny because I think that the double racks plate might actually have been effective on this setup on Boneyard, because you have 2 aggression points, so you can just kind of run in, run out, cause problems. There's not like that one strong ramp to hold that exists on, say, Lost Hope or something that makes that a little bit easier. But anyways, this is where we are. This is the standard thing. Yeah, and Rusty, also, I know I've been saying this. If you're watching on YouTube, just be aware, not Sunday, not the 23rd, but the next 2 Sundays, the following 2 Sundays, are going to be $250 open tournaments. I got a sponsor for them. Very excited about that. I'm going to need you all to go and download an app and just take a look at it. Literally, they just need eyes on the app is what they are sponsoring it for. So for now, we're going to see a bunch of Lancers. They're going to try to dive in. They will die. Skull of Shadow used to nuke one of them down, and you just got 6 gaunts. They don't have plague axes just yet. It's gonna be very close. But the Lancers will die. So let's see. Hogs on the way. No central command on the way just yet, though. But hedgehogs are gonna get added in, and I feel, maybe I'm crazy here, that if you want to go that kind of the mass hog style, you kind of want to force msrm to take bad traits early in this style that they're both playing. I think you want to go and you want to force a Magmanon out fairly early. You want to delay the economy a little bit. You want to force more units out from msrm early, because then you kind of force him to build the units that you want him to build. And then when you do that, that means that the hedgehogs are not going to be countered by the units that msrm would like to make. Now, yeah, I think that's how it, yeah, I feel like you want to do a little bit more than Mixu has done. But this could just be kind of, just get a couple hedgehogs. It's for map control. Behind that, of course, Biolab is being made. But all right, so this map is fun because you can go and you can get a double Therium right here. You can get another shrine down. And not only is it an extra shrine, not only is that now 4 shrines on 2 bases, so that's a lot of imps, but also it forms a bit of a wall here. It gives you something to play behind and makes it a little bit harder to go and get dove on top of. Which is it's a pretty effective thing if you're playing, like, because remember, msrm, his goal in this game is to get up to tier 3. You know, he's getting up to an Elder Shrine. A Twilight's going to be down too, but his entire goal in this game is to get up to tier 3 tech. He is of the opinion, and I can't say I disagree with him. He is of the opinion that tier 1, tier 2 Infernals, not all that great against Vanguard. They're not, really not all that great. But tier 3 is very good. So your job, it's kind of like the quick ultra style that Cyril showed against This year, like, debuted against Maru on Habitation Station, where you're just like, I am playing defensively, and I'm getting ultras on the map with kindness by like 8:30. Right, I am just getting my stuff out as quickly as possible because the mid game is not something that I want to play. And I think this makes a lot of sense. Again, Speed Magmadons, Hellborn with Molten Touch, these are very powerful units. And in the meantime, you're going to have some Hellborn, and they can shell away from the high ground. That is true, as this Magmadon actually does have Demon Hoof, so that is fairly useful. Nightfall is going to kind of land on the Lancers. Ideally, you'd be hitting the Hedgehogs. It's very unlikely that you hit the Hedgehogs, but that is going to be a beautiful trade already because Fiends now, they respond from the Nightfall. That gives you a little bit of power there. The Medtech's dead. You're not going to kill the Hogs easily, but you can get everything else. And that, oh god, you really don't want to lose these. You really don't want to lose these Magmadons. The stun's going to be good, but as we can see with the Nano Swarm, nothing's really dying here, right? So, well, I guess you're going to get the Exo, but you're not really going to get the Hogs. They're being healed at, what is it, 10 damage, 10 HP per second, I think it is. They're not dying. Heal camps should not heal mechanical units. Change my mind. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. You just call it a restoration camp. It does both. Gets you a man that does both, or a camp that does both. A woman that does both. A person that does both. It's 2025. We're not judging, but gets you someone that can do both. Now we're going on to our 5th shrine here for MSRM, and here's the flank coming on top. Nightfall was going to be forced to dodge it. Hogs are trying so hard to get out of this, but this one feels like finally, maybe not all of them die, but enough of them go down that the pressure should be alleviated somewhat. So the Luminite camp, that's going to get claimed. That's a nice thing for MSRM to deal with. This, well, oh, interesting. MSRM is going to take the low ground. I generally see Vanguard go take this space because you can push through it, and it also has, well, and it's not as far away from your main base and your natural. That's generally where I see Vanguards go for it, but we'll see. For now, though, Gaunt drop with a single brute because why not? Moving on to the other side of the map, and it's going to scout out that, okay, there are Gaunts rolling through. There's a rally here, likely on the right side. Now, whether Mixu kind of internalizes that and does something about it, that's a different story, but he does see it. And for now, this drop is it's not getting a lot done, but will it see the Bob? He's going to go check the third base. Yeah, actually, you know what? He's going to check this anyways because he knows that we are at 8.5 minutes in. There is no world where Mixu does not have a third base up, and if it's not over here, it is on this north side. So Bobs are going to go down. It's going to convert some Fiends. That's always going to be a pretty reasonable trade. Nanostorm actually goes down on the Bobs to keep them alive. So it's actually not going to get a ton, but it does deny mining just a little bit. Man, this water here always makes me think they're Infernals right there. Oh, V5 didn't even notice. I'm sorry. V5 rocket launcher was taken by a bunch of the Vanguard, and it's actually going to go and kill the Proto Wraithstone. That is unfortunate. It's 120 damage per structures, so it is a lot. And a single brute is going to slowly take it down, but losing the Shroudstone doesn't feel incredible. And that's another dead Shroudstone. Oh, man, that is not what you want to do there. Oh, MSRM's going to be fine. It's okay, but he does lose out on that defense on the right side. This army now from MSRM is pretty scary. It's got a couple Magmadons. Do we have tier 3 stuff? No Molten Touch, but yeah, Raging Tendons are done. that's where things get rather scary. And look at the Harbinger. He's looking for a bit of a flank, looks to move in. You're not gonna hot drop right on top, but you're gonna get really close, and you're gonna make life very hard for Mixu here. So many Exos get popped, and good lash, great lash, but the bubble's gonna be there for now. This Vulcan won't die for a time. Magnet on the backside, doing a lot of stun, but System Shock kites away, and the Vulcan is doing actually so much damage on the backside. msrm thought he had a good fight here, and it's not bad, but but Mixu's rejoinder was very nice, and now Graven getting at it in. If they can cast their spells, that'd be great. As it stands, they're not doing so at the moment, but that System Shock to kite away is doing God's work here. And now Weavers are going to get taken down. I think at this point, you're fine. You System Shock on top of the Hellborn, and you take them down. Actually, maybe you don't. Maybe you just flank in with some Hedgehogs that were scouting out the prospective fourth base, and that'll do the same thing. This army is dead. msrm down about 100, not 100, about 70 supply at this point. And that fight was not, it was just really well controlled by Mixu. And we find ourselves in a situation once again. msrm is pretty close to getting a dragon out. Let's take a look at the Hellforge. Yeah, Molten Touch is about 20 seconds away. msrm could go and build a dragon straight out of this shrine, but he's buying things that are not the dragon. He's not spending. He doesn't have enough Illuminite for it right now, and now with Survivor Protocol keeping these Exos alive for forever and a day, he's not ever really going to be able to get the dragon, I don't think. It's just, he has the Animus for it, he has the Therium for it, but just not enough Illuminite, and as he keeps building these units, he doesn't have enough to save. So Mixu takes a banger of a fight in the middle of the map, is able to go and turn what it looked kind of awkward at the start. Turn a pretty good fight. And now, well, msrm is just kind of dead. He's down 120 supply. There's really not a lot available to him anymore. Yes, Wraith Stones and Hellborn and splash damage can be solid, but it's just not enough. The dragon's out now. It's too late, unfortunately. Kind of surprised we don't see him System Shocking on the dragon's. Whew, that dragon's overextending. Gonna say I'm surprised we're not seeing him just System Shock turning on top of it, but kind of cool thing, by the way. You don't really realize it, but each popped Exo on Survival Protocol is a new Exo. So Survival Protocol purges Infest, which is kind of just like a secondary. The primary benefit is the Exo doesn't die and it can get healed up and whatever, but it also it purges the Infest. So they're not going to die at 1 HP the second time. You do have to reapply the Infest to make that happen. I never noticed this. Is now System Shock trying to get on top of the dragon. Are you gonna get it? You're not. But I love, and I don't know that I've ever heard the sound isolated. Generally, I'm responding too late in my games, and I'm just seeing things die. But I love that the sound of Infiltrate is the dial-up tone. Orsinum, it purges everything because it's a new Exo. Right when the Exo dies, it pops. There's a new Exo. System Shot, that's a dead dragon. That's very much a dead msrm. And he's going to tap out. Mixu goes up 2-1 in the semifinals. Game number 4. Isle of Dread, unfortunately not the Stormy edition, but that's fine. Right again. Hopefully some pretty good games. We did have. This has been a pretty good series overall. Late games, early game pressure. We've been playing on, in general, the big maps though. So that means that we are tending to go a little bit later than earlier. Some of the pressure that you might be able to pull off on like a Titan's Causeway or a Broken Crown or even like a Secluded Grove, not quite as viable. So Mixu, he's going to get his barracks fairly early. This is going to turn into a couple Lancers just for a little bit of pressure, but not a ton. Because I don't think he goes double racks here. Well, no, okay, this is just gonna be the Hedgehog thing, right? Where you go 4 workers on Therium, you get a reasonably quick mech bay afterwards, and you do map control pressure, not like I'm ending the game pressure, but just map control pressure. And that's how we saw Mixu playing in the last game too. Meanwhile, msrm, do we even need to look at his main base at this point? He's been playing the same thing 4 games in a row, and it worked very well for him in the first one. And Mixu has now been problem solving. has now been working on, well, just figuring out exactly how to deal with it. And he's been doing a pretty good job, all things considered. He is not falling victim to the awkward timings. He's not been falling victim to just getting magma stomped into the ground, and he's been able to play around very nicely with everything against everything that msrm is going for. Also, as we saw in the last game, didn't really matter, didn't really factor in. Didn't really factor in. He did get the nano bubble at the end, and the nano swarm, or the nano bubble, which is something, is the tier, the final tier of upgrades on the Sentinel, means it drops a bubble that means that significantly reduces all range damage. So it kind of nullifies Hellborn. So what can msrm do in this game to get a better result? Like that's what we're asking ourselves, because Mixu was in a pretty good spot in game 1. Eventually he took a bad fight, got kind of jumped upon, and the game snowballed from there. Game 2, game 3, though, he's been able to just have effective pressure and make life difficult for msrm. Make life just hard for him to play the game that he wants to play. And now as these Lancers run in, I mean, they're level 2 Lancers. They have 306 HP. It's something. Ow, he's gonna get on top of it. Oh, you don't want to lose Imps here. This is, he's gonna be fine, I think. Yes. That looked scary for a second. I'm like, man, you know, losing Gaunts, you're trading him away. It's whatever. Losing Imps, that when you're sitting here and when you're kind of delaying your Luminite economy like this, you're delaying your natural shrine like this, losing Imps like that would be really not great. So this was actually a really good trade for msrm. He took down 3 Lancers. I don't think he lost much of anything. Yeah, he had to go and lost a little bit of mining time. And he, oh no, the upgraded Scout. Oh no. Oh no. That's 6.5, like doing what, 10 damage ish shot versus light units. He's actually able to go and take things down and find a little corner here. Oh, that is unfortunate. Well, if you're Mixu, you're very happy about it, but that was impossible. Get it? Because imps? Because impossible? Do you get it? Just laugh. It's funny. But anyways, msrm actually moving out of the map quite a bit here. That's a lot of Fiends, and he gets a surround. It feels very hard to get fully lock surrounds in against a lot of units with Fiends, because Fiends are made of paper. They're like paper mache. 50 HP and also minus 100 armor means that they are like, that's like 2 shots from a hedgehog. But also just because of the way pathing in Stormgate works, it feels a little easier to kind of wiggle out of surrounds compared to say StarCraft 2. But he gets a surround on a hedgehog, takes that down. That's pretty nice here. And this pressure, well, it's got Plague Axes. It does not have Reaper Rush. That's actually not even on the way. It looks like msrm is he skipping it? He might just be skipping it here. For now, though, he's going to go try to steal the speed camp. That is a potential, actually, at this point, guaranteed source of a couple more Fiends. That's a pretty solid opportunity. And Speed Gaunt, Speed Fiends. This third base is in trouble. msrm, he has not played this aggressively in any game this series. He's been playing on the back foot. He's been playing to defend against Mixu, but killing off that third base. And remember, you can't sell command posts. So killing off that third base that's a beautiful move. This is by far the best game that he probably has played in this series. Now, the Lancer's gonna, or the Vulcan's gonna show up, and well, all of the Fiends disappear. All of the Fiends go away. The machine ate a plant. It got healed, yes, because in Stormgate, at this point, all the machines have animus engines that are able to turn biological material into repair. I made that up. I don't know if that's true, but hey, you know, I sounded like I knew what I was talking about. Maybe. Minus 125 armor means this Magmadon is not going to be nearly as tanky as you might otherwise think it is. So now we're going to see msrm is going to have to back up a little bit. He exerted pressure, and he got a big kill on that third base. It's not the end of the world because you can power build it back up, and it's fine, but that is money down the drain. That is time lost there, where Mixu's only building off of 2 command posts instead of 3, so he's not expanding his bob count nearly as much. It's lost money. It matters. It may not feel like it matters because of the power of power build, but it has put msrm in probably the best position that he's had in this series. Now, it's still incumbent upon him to win the game. Let's be clear. This is not a game where msrm has all but won the game and Mixu is just kind of staying in it for kicks and giggles. No, this game is still very playable for him, but msrm has bought himself time for tier 3 for the Elder Shrine to get up. He's bought himself time for drops to show up on the map, and it's just going to be Magmadon drops here, it looks like, for kind of combat drops. He's bought himself time for his third base to go up and a double Therium Shrine to go up. He has bought himself time, and importantly, he's bought himself a window where he's going to be on tier 3 and his opponent will not be. Yeah, Orsenum. I'm still working on the website, but I have not had time to write articles in 5 months. So I need to just sit down and come up with some article ideas and at least write up some coverage of the patches. It's just I've been writing my thesis, so I only have so much writing bones in my body right now, Orsenum, and they are being used by now working on a thesis. So Mixu's third base is now back up and running, building off a couple more barracks because he can support that one. Mech bays as well, because it seems like he's going for, well, what was he building? He was building Exos, right? Or no, this is pure mech. So Magmadon drops actually pretty good. The Bobs, they cluster together for a second, and that was a Nightfall plus the Magma Stomp drops. So that's actually really awkward. That is a lot of dead Bobs here going down, and just recall back home. You're fine. Yeah, msrm is in such a better position in this game. If this was game 3, if this was game 2, Mixu would be up like 30 supply at this point in the game. So instead, msrm is even. He's getting effective harassment done. The Fiend's in the main base. Probably not going to get a ton here because you can just kind of repair it out. But it is a scout. It does tell him everything that's happening. He's like, no high command. Mech bays, mass mech bays. This is not mech into bio like we often see. This is just pure mech here. And that does a lot to inform exactly how msrm wants to build his army, wants to play this game. Let's look at this attempted drop here. Now, it's a dead drop, actually. Hedgehogs are going to have to go kite back just a little bit. Dashes in, stuns the Weaver here, and that's a big stasis drone. So the Weaver's not really going to be able to do all that. It's weird, it's bubble. Is it bubbled? Looks like it's bubble as well anyways, but the nano swarms or the nano bubble is going to go down. This means these Hellborn are not really going to do anything. Gaunt's as well. That is a significant damage mitigation. 75% damage reductions. The Weaver on the backside is going to get taken down, but 75% damage mitigation for ranged attacks for like 20 seconds. Might even be longer. It is just a very powerful tool against all of these Hellborn. And that means that even as msrm has been probably the best situation he's been in this series, he is still under the gun. There's another nano bubble going down, and the Sentinel just returns to hangar. Says, you know what? I've done my job. I have gone and stasis droned out the Weavers so they can't get their lashes. I've dropped a nano bubble. So the Hellborn don't do as much. And, well, of course, the way you play this is you kite backwards. So Mixu's forced to dive forward to get on top of the army, and this is where things get dicey because Mixu's army just kind of evaporated. It's gone. All the Hedgehogs are dead. All the Vulcans are dead. The rally now has to run back home, and that was a very good defense from msrm. I kind of looked at that. I'm like, oh man, I think he's kind of dead. I think he's kind of in a very rough spot, but no. The defense is there. You just cut away from the nano bubble, and it can't hurt you. Also, someone's talking about Proxy Hellborn with Shroud Stones to defend. I took that as an all-in timing, but apparently msrm is just going to build vaults on the map so you can reinforce straight, whether it's Magmadons, whether it's Hellborn, you can reinforce them straight into the fight, and that is a very effective thing to do. Now, we're not seeing that right here, but okay, triple Wraith Stones as well. So you're just not attacking into this position without helicarriers, and actually helicarriers with their bombing runs are going to be pretty slow. you're not gonna fight into this without helicarriers, maybe atlases, something like that. It is a hard position to break. This is, you're gonna push through the left side. That's the story. You're not pushing through the right side. So this game now doesn't really feel like it's gonna end anytime soon. Mixu's adding in that. I think we can call this the 5th base. I think that's fair because this is a double base. Mixu adding in his 5th base, msrm the 6th, and so the economy's going pretty well for both sides. Supply is going reasonable for both sides. msrm looks like he wants to try to go for a bust here on the left side, and there's not a lot of vision for Mixu. He seems to know something's up just based on the clear. No, that wasn't taken all that recently, but he's cycling over to the left side. No, okay, the drop. Yeah, the drop. He has to respond to the drop. So the Magmadons, they're going to take some damage. Most importantly, the Bobs are staying alive. So that's not going to be Fiends into the fight. That's not going to be Bobs going down. He's going to be able to keep his Therium income up and running. That actually matters quite a bit. In this late game, you might see 1,000 bank and say, well, Mixu, he should spend his money, and he should. Don't get me wrong. But this money can go away fairly quickly when we're talking about building this great big mech army. So now, you don't want to fight up this ramp. Not into Hellborn with tier 3, not into a dragon, not into other things. Hedgehogs are going to try to be a bit of a harassment tool, and they can take down structures just fine. But, I was going to say, you might want to post up on this. This is oh man, I don't like Mixu's fight here. I think if you have System Shock, you run the hell away out of this one. This is not a position to fight into, but maybe you get the dragon? You're gonna get the dragon. Hedgehogs aren't in anti-air mode, so that's not gonna work out. Moves forward, kills the effigy, so there's not gonna be Infest applied, and Stasis Drone is just gonna get Magma stomped away. So that's not really gonna add all that much. Nightfall is gonna get dropped on top of as well, and I think I saw System Shock applied, but not really getting all that much done. Now Magmadons are going to get targeted down here, and once that's done, immediately these Hedgehogs put him in anti-air mode. You got to target the Dragon down. It's a problem here. Nanobubble's delayed. Nanobubble's not really adding in all that much value. The rally coming out of msrm, well, it seemed to be pushing through for the time being, but now Sticky Bombs are getting added in. That's a lot of damage removed from the army of msrm, and it seems like with that, he's going to have to go and pull back a little bit. Honestly, reasonable trades from both sides. So Mixu has pretty much every base that he can be expected to take. This base is always awkward. It's just not easily defensible, and it's only Luminite anyways. As he's going to try to take that dragon out. It's not really successful. I would love to see Mixu add in a couple evacs in the late game. He plays around with these sieged hedgehog drops to kill dragons so tremendously well. As he's trying to go get some sentry posts up, maybe for ambush turrets, but most likely just for med stations. He's gonna try to get those up, but they're not building quick enough. So he's gonna be forced to back up for now. Hedgehogs have to back up a little bit more as the Exos run forward, try to get the dragon, but not gonna be successful. And man, there's a lot of damage on the dragon. Is it gonna go down? No, it's not, but it gets very low here. And remember, there's not a lot of healing, but now Shroudfall is gonna go down, and that's just gonna heal everything, all the Shroud or all the white health back up to full so quickly. 6% per second, and now Magmadon tries to move in. It's so tanky with Shroudfall. It's just not gonna die, and I think this is finally breaking Mixu in this late game. I think finally a massive amount of Hellborn, the dragon, the Shroudfall at the very end. I think this finally is gonna send us to a game number 5. Graven are too gas heavy for their value, says Grimmy. They're not worth it. Oh, he's saying, told you guys it's game 5. Yeah, no, this has been a very good series. I agreed with him as much as I was being a little silly. At this point, Mixu's kind of dead. I don't think he really has much that he can do to make a comeback happen. Certainly not after losing his last 2 fresh mining bases. That's going to be a problem. As he manages actually to sell the mech base before they go down, so there's that. But and Shroudfall just he didn't have enough burst damage anymore. Getting through the Shroudfall regen is just so hard. This Rampart's gonna attempt to the Rampart's gonna keep the base alive longer, but not long enough. It's all dead. It's all dead in the ground. Mixu's gonna try to cut off reinforcements, maybe. It's like, okay, if you play away from this massive wall of Hellborn, maybe that can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if you play away from the 12 Hellborn, maybe you can make something happen. I don't think you can. Mixu is, we've seen miracles from Mixu in the past, 100%. We are beyond miracles at this point. We are up. This is over double supply. Yeah, he's dead. Mixu just leaning into that extreme, the msrm GG timing once again. But we are going to get to move into game number 5, which is very exciting because this has been an absolute treat of a series. The Magmadon's serving as the Bob Eraser to end this game. Mixu's going to tap out. The msrm sends us to game 5. So now it's game number 5. Mixu, msrm, they've played bangers back and forth, and it really has gone down to the late game. It really has gone to that point where someone takes a big fight, they get a big flank, the game ends one way or the other. Build an insurmountable advantage. So now we're looking at Titan's Causeway. Game number 5. And Titan's Causeway is just a really bad Infernal map. It's like really bad Infernal map. Not a lot of Therium available. You get 2 for your 3, and then you can go get double Therium. 2 for your core 3 bases, and you get double Therium, but that's very exposed. Taking a 4th base, I mean, good luck. You can try to take this double setup, but it's very siegeable by the Vanguard. It's very close to the Vanguard. The corner base is just it is a hard map to play a late game on. But also the rush distance is, if you cut the trees down, the rush distance is very fast. So you're also under the barrel of, well, a Vanguard pressure at the same time. So it's very awkward. Cluck the Irish has resulted in a banger. Games Dutchy 8891 says, yes, it is good stuff. Not quite as good as corned beef and cabbage. It's still pretty good. Or, you know, a Guinness poured in Ireland. I do believe, because I spent 12 hours in Ireland on an emergency layover that I didn't want, but I did get the requisite pint of Guinness there, and I will agree when people say that it is a little bit better in Ireland than it is in the United States. It actually is I want to say there's a US-based brewery now, so that does make sense, that it's just going to be a little bit different. But I will agree that it is the funniest thing about that is these Lancers probably not going to be able to kill this shrine, but they're trying. They're doing their best, putting some unhealable damage down. But anyway, what I was saying with this was, the really funny thing, I'm at this bar. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I've already missed one flight that day. It's rough. I have like a 12-hour layover in Dublin, so I'm just exploring the right near like the center of the city as much as I can before I got to go stay in my hostel and not sleep because someone is yelling in some African, maybe Bantu, but some African language to his friends back home in the hostel room. But anyways, I go and I'm at this bar, and I thought it was really funny that they had this old sign from like, I don't know, like World War II era, maybe a little earlier. Like 40s, 30s, something like that says, yeah, drink Guinness. It's the breakfast beer. Drink Guinness. Drink it for breakfast, guys. It's good. And I mean, they do call Guinness a loaf of bread in a can, so makes sense. But I just thought that was really funny. But here comes the aggression. And do we have a greater shrine? We do. So Magmadon can be made. Ideally, msrm is not going to lose anything to this, though. And he will. Yeah, there are just too many Lancers right now. So losing a single imp, probably not the end of the world. But it doesn't feel good either. So if you remember in the last game, he went, he had just had a beautiful hold. He lost one imp at the end, but it was to a scout and it was whatever. And this time, my life's a little bit more interesting. So plague axes are done, 2 damage per second, now being applied to these 300 HP lancers. Surely the infest is going to kill them. I'm being facetious. It's the damage on top. Additional 2 damage per second. It counts. It matters. Skull of Shed is going to go explode potentially and do like 45 damage on one of the lancers. It can work out, but why do you care? There's a med station. Oh, that was pretty cool. Medtech pops out to go soak the skull and then goes back into the med station. So the med station doesn't start doing 4 healing per second. It says 8 healing per second because it's out of combat. Everything's out of combat. Kind of a cool little, a tiny little bit of micro thing is now the feed and run by is going to try to get something. I don't think it got a bob. I don't think it got a bob. On the health bar, each segment represents how much health? I believe it's 50. I believe each segment is 50 HP. Yeah, each segment is about 50 HP. And the really nice thing about this, by the way, is health bars actually represent HP. The tick marks actually mean something. In StarCraft 2, it's just a function of your aspect ratio. It really doesn't, and like how big the HP bar is, you can't count HP bars and actually see something about how much HP the unit has. You can in Stormgate. And you know, I'm not sure, does it actually matter? I don't know. But the perfectionist in me really does appreciate that it means something. So for now, the pressure will continue coming out of Mixu. He's going to get some meat farms down. This is a supply block as hell, MSRM, as he has opted to go Spriggans in this game 5, and that is, well, potentially a really good option. Now, Spriggans don't do a lot of damage to Exos, but they can slow them down, and they can buy time for the Magmadons to make a little bit more contact. I don't know that that got enough done. I don't know that the pressure for Mixu certainly was backed up, and a lot of Lancers went down. But we're gonna, if we look back home, we're gonna see Mixu somewhere has a hangar bay, and he's building Hornets, and it really does feel like it's more than one probably, but it really does feel like it's pretty much one Hornet shuts down almost an infinite number of Spriggans. Spriggans are very good against structures, but they fire volleys of 3. They do 9 damage to units that are not heavy. They shred heavy units, to be fair. They do double damage. But against light units, against untagged units, I don't think there is an untagged UL. Imps actually might be... are Imps untagged? They got the bio tag. So, but against units that do not have the light, that do not have the heavy tag, they don't really do a lot of damage. So that's kind of worth talking about. Is that the Spriggans are out here, and their job is to try to end the game. Now, their job as this time is to try to kill a base or two to really diminish the economy. And I don't know how much they're going to be able to get done here, because the Hornets out now, Sky Mine is going to zone a little bit more, and now Spriggans, well, there's not a lot that they can do, and that is a lot of money that you've invested into these Spriggans here. So it really is down to the Hellborn on the high ground, the Magmadons as well, to see if you can go and make this defense happen. Magmadons, they don't have Stomp. So they're just going to do damage. They're not going to stun, and that stun really does matter. So now dashing in with the Vulcan is going to go and, well, stun the Magmadon as much as possible. But the Magmadon not going to go down for the time being. Now it is, but actually, yeah, these Extras are going to go down. This is a very nice hold from MSRM. The Nightfall made the difference. The Spriggans coming back home, it made a significant difference. And now Mixu, he's kind of on the ropes here. The game's not over. The game's not over. But he's only on 2 bases. Now, in fairness, so too is MSRM. He never was able to get his 3rd base up. So that does matter quite a bit. The economy is not really good for either player. We're not looking down the barrel of... I was going to say we're not looking down the barrel of an Elder Shrine, but we are actually looking down the barrel of an Elder Shrine. And I think I really like this for MSRM. If he's able to hold on to get to his tier 3 upgrades. If he's able to get Molten Touch, if he's able to get Speed Dons, I really like this for Mixu. Now, it's not easy, because this timing is still rather scary, but he had the Hellborn in. They actually can provide a bit of an answer to the Hornets. This long-range poke. 30 damage an attack times 3, so 90 damage of volley. Splash, it matters. But this push is the problem, right? It's like, yeah, tier 3, great. 6% HP regen per second, fantastic. But do you have the money with Hell Forges to get what you need out? I don't think so. I think that is the problem right now. MSRM is very broke. And we're going to see Mixu trying to go get his third base up at the same time. So they're both, because of the power of power build, they're both going to get their third base up right around the same time here. But I'm kind of worried that MSRM is just going to lose his third base. So we're going to have to see. For now, the Shroud Stone is dead. There's no Shroud connecting the natural in the third. That Vault is going to fall down as well. And I think, oh man, it's like if you get to the tier 3 upgrades, if you get to Molten Touch, as that's going to have to be a cancel right there on the third. And oh man, that feels bad. If you get to Molten Touch, if you get to Speed Magmadons, maybe. Yeah, losing that third base also really does, well, it doesn't really diminish the Therium income as much because you generally proxy a shrine here anyways, or you build a second shrine there anyways, but it does hurt. It does diminish power quite a bit. Molten Touch is on the way. Now it's done. Now this army is going to take a lot more damage. Magmadons do not have speed dons, but they're just trying to stun here as much as possible. Molten Touch is done. It's good. There is just not enough. MSRM sitting here 600. Buy some units. You gotta go spend it. I know you're trying to save for the dragon. You gotta go spend that Animus. Get the units up. Spend a Hellspawn Resurgence. Get up to, like, if you get up to maybe 6 Hellborn, maybe. And he does, I hesitate to call it a defense. He does force Mixu back, and he doesn't lose his natural, but he lost a bunch of imps. He lost, like, all of his Therium imps. This is just a really awkward position now. He does not have a third base. He wants to get one. He's going to be able to spend the money. He's going to get that third base up. But as you were saying, I think you got to proxy one of these bases. If just being a base behind like this, and also Mixu's been scrapyarding the double Therium for quite a while, so it's down Luminite and down Therium. It's just really hard, and now the Hellborn are exposed. Magmadon's gonna have to run in and try to salvage the situation, but it gets stunned by the Vulcan at this point. Yeah, no, MSRM, he's kind of dead. They're not able to get that third base up, not able to resaturate the Therium economy. He has no money, and if you don't have money, you're dead in a game of Stormgate. Unfortunately there for MSRM, not able to clutch it out in game 5, but if you're a Mixu fan, and also if you're a Vanguard versus Infernal fan for the grand finals, you're not too upset about this one. This was a very good series. And yes, Mixu's the one that's going to win at the end, but back and forth. I thought, you know, maybe get up to tier 3. That might be enough for MSRM. The lack of a third made life very hard. And at the end of things, MSRM is going to get forced out. Mixu wins this semifinals. Of course, if you like this, you want more Stormgate action, make sure to go sub to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitch, and I'll catch you next time.